Why, Emma? You cover this campaign so closely. I the number that I've seen, 50%, 57%. I'm sorry, of white women voted for Donald Trump. How? Why? I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, I think what Emily hit at, the internalized misogyny, is certainly part of it. I don't think it's all of it necessarily. You know, as much media coverage as the Trump campaign gets in terms of reaching working class voters, where it really could, if succeeded, was reaching wealthy suburbanites and wealthy white suburbanites. And half of that population is women. So I think it's honestly, when we question why white women voted for Trump, despite all of the terrible things he said about women and all of the allegations against him, I think it comes down to sort of a class tribalism where white women are putting their class position above their gender, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I might add something to that, which is that it's not so much, you know, the internalized misogyny thing. It's not like, oh, he hates women, so I think that's great. It's more about like why they can justify to themselves voting for him, right? Like it's the class. It's like, A, he is my identity, and B, okay, now as a woman I have to justify to myself why I can vote for him. And that's where this kind of unconscious sexism bias comes in, which is that the idea is that, well, he's a boorish jerk, but he's our jerk, right? And it's you know, gender issues. It's not just women. It's also masculinity. It's ideas of, oh, well, Trump is this manly man, and so he's. Yeah, well, sure, he abuses women, but, you know, that's what tough guys do, and boys will be boys. Or
I saw a lot of quotes from female Trump supporters where it was like, oh, my husband has said stuff like this, like, and he's, you know, he's my husband.
Exactly. And a lot of them say, no, I find what he said deplorable, but, you know, but no one's perfect.
You said something that when women do present as candidates, that there's less gender bias in the election than you would think. Okay. Yeah. So what happened to Hillary?
So, yeah, big caveat to that. There used to be more gender bias in outcomes so most of the political science research we have on this is from congressional races. And the part of the issue with that is that people have just gotten more used to women running for Congress. People are not used to women running for president, so there probably was a gender bias element there. And I wrote last year for Vox about some political science that suggested that, that Hillary was facing a pretty steep gender hurdle from men in particular, and this was during the primaries. They compared it to Sanders, and it wasn't the same. Like when they primed men, when they just got men to think about, does your spouse make more than you? And so they think about, women and place in the family and society, and then they were much less favorably inclined toward Hillary after that.
But Emma, I thought that her gender would be a plus for Hillary.
I mean, certainly for many.
Certainly among women and among a lot of men. Just this idea of Barack Obama, first African-American president.
Sure.
Hillary. Now, that's not maybe enough of a reason for that reason alone to vote for her, but that would give her a boost.
Well, that was certainly true for many voters, and she did win the popular vote.
Yes,
big caveat.
Right, yes.
But I think what we saw with the Clinton campaign is that you can't just have a message of, I would be the first female president and I'm not Trump and look how terrible this man is, and all of their ads with children watching clips of him. That clearly did not break through to the wealthy white suburban moms that they thought they were going to pull over from the Republican side. And I think that is one of the Clinton campaign's fatal mistakes, is that they were trying to tack right and play it like a normal presidential campaign, when clearly that's not what this was.
I still come back to this comment from Chuck Schumer. This was at the DNC.
Yes.
Quote, "For every blue-collar Democrat we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we will pick up 2 moderate Republicans in the suburbs in Philadelphia, and you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin." End
womp womp.
quote. So like
One of the most damning quotes of the whole election.
brutal,
Right.
brutal. Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, ugh.
So on that point, I just want a little plug for our friends John Allen and Amy Parnes, who were in yesterday with their new book, Shattered, if you want the whole to relive the whole painful experience of the Clinton campaign. Check it out.